Back in 1895, Samuel Damon, who was a trustee for the Kamehameha schools, stated in 1895 as a so-called member of the Republic of Hawaii, if we are ever to have peace and annexation, the first thing to do is to obliterate the past. Obliterate the past. That term, denationalization, is basically the obliteration of the national consciousness of the people of an occupied state. And denationalization is actually a war crime. That's what Germans and Italians were committing during World War II, and were prosecuted for that. Now, this denationalization that began in the early 1900s has created an empty vessel of information. And we are now beginning to recover our memory, and that's through education.
I'm already thinking about ways for the state to acquire that land so that we can put it into workforce housing, to put it back into families, or to make it open spaces in perpetuity as a memorial to people who were lost. We want this to be something that we remember after the pain passes as a magic place. And Lahaina will rebuild. The tragedy right now is the loss of life. The buildings can be rebuilt over time. Even the banyan tree may survive. But we don't want this to become a cleared space where then, yes, people from overseas just come and decide they're going to take it. The state will take it and preserve it first.
Also, I spoke about perfect title. In 1996, created a firestorm. And what we're saying there, and keep in mind, remember the raving lunatic? It says here, perfect title focus of criminal probe. Perfect title has created chaos in Hawaii's real estate industry with its claim that current land titles are no good. The company reaches those conclusions using 19th century Hawaiian Kingdom law, which it says is still in effect, and by searching property records dating to the 1840s. Now, the irony of that statement, it makes perfect sense today. In 1997, what? That's crazy. That's what education does, right? And perfect title gets raided. So we get arrested for theft, racketeering, and tax evasion. That's when you get hit for speaking the truth, right? Now, this raid came on the heels of a presentation that I gave at the Hawaii Prince Hotel, put on by the Hawaii Developers Council. Over 500 people showed up. On this panel was David Peach, president of Title Guarantee Escrow, Bruce Graham from Ashford and Riston, also a law professor at the University of Hawaii that teaches land titles, Neil Hulbert from Alston and Hunt Law Firm representing Chicago Title Insurance Company, and an attorney from Bank of Hawaii to moderate, who was an attorney, and myself and Donald Lewis, the partner of Perfect Title. After the presentation, Bruce Graham comes up to me and he says, Keanu, we need to talk. I said, okay, Bruce, what's up? He says, people are gonna get hurt. You can't do this. I said, Bruce, this is about land titles and title reports. That's all it is. And I sent you a title report from Perfect Title. All you need to do is to go line by line and refute it. That's all. And if you can refute it, get us on fraud or conspiracy. He says, I can't refute it. It is historically and factually correct. So I said, what's the problem? He said, America's here, and that's just the way it is. And my response was, I didn't know America was engaged in title insurance. That was the issue. A week after, we get raided. Now the newspapers start spreading lies about me, telling elderly people don't pay their mortgages, constantly shifting attention all over the place. And I gotta tell you, racketeering, that's crazy. But nobody blinked an eye back then. In fact, I think a lot of people wanted us to get locked up. But as a trained officer, we call that incoming. It's called hit the ground because of the blast radius, right? So, if anything, I don't have animosity, but I understand the reaction. But accountability also is still coming as well.
So the question is around public trust.
Well, first and foremost, if you're relying on social media, with all due respect,
That's just an example, sir.
well, as the example you used,
Yeah.
it's a terrible example because social media is the worst source.
Well, sir, you just have to go out and talk out people out of the street.
I think you'll let me answer the question as governor. Doing reporting through social media is idiotic. Doing reporting in person is intelligent. I'm glad you're doing some of that.